I'm going to change it up a little bit. I know I talked about going over some estimating as well, but then after going through everything in the fact finding, this is something that we probably need to all spend a little bit more time on because we are in front of potential clients and then existing clients that are trying to get us to service them again this year. And I know we're all dealing with the price issues, so there's that on top of everything. So right now, just figuring out what the client's wants and needs are is so much more important than anything else in the sales process or the sales cycle, because without knowing that, you can't go any further. You can't even get to the estimate or the proposal without knowing what they truly want. So tackling those pain points head on, be able to system better to move forward in that process. So the biggest thing that we kind of touched on last week as well was we have to be relatable, right? We have to be genuine, sincere, and we have to converse with these people as though they are our closest friends, which they are friends. And some of my clients have been with me for 20 years, longer than some of my friends. So they are your friends. They actually pay you as well. So it's a win-win. You're helping them out. They help you out. So being genuine and sincere when you're talking to them is probably the biggest key to the whole process. Another big thing that we need to all try to gather information on as well is what are their hobbies, right? Do they have kids? Do they have pets? Do they love to travel? Do they love really good wine? I mean, I note all that stuff down because when that review time comes or when something big happens, I'll buy them $100 bottle of wine if they just spent a lot of money with landscaping for us. Or I can ask them about their kids every time that I meet with them or I talk on the phone. Hey, how's so and so doing at college in Arizona? So remembering those small things goes a long way because it makes it sound like you care about them, right? And you do care about them, so you remember. So they would much rather do business with you or take that price increase, even if it's $100-something more an application for fertilizing or whatever it is. They're much more apt to work with you if you are that genuine with them throughout the whole time that you're working together, your working relationship. So going that extra mile, spending extra time trying to figure out what they want and how you can benefit them is key. So when you're meeting with people on site, I mean, this is what outside of the family, the hobbies, everything else, but what is most important to them? If it's somebody you haven't met yet, right? Is it time? Do they want you to help mow or fertilize because they don't have the time to do it anymore and they want to come home and relax? Why did they contact you? I mean, these are all things that you need to start asking. Why did they leave from a previous provider, right? How can you differ from that provider? How can you enhance their property? Maybe it's curb appeal that's what they truly care about, especially if it's businesses, if it's customers coming in. Is it an outside, they want a lot of color? Like what are those key points that are very important to them? Because it might not be time, but they'll spend as much money as they want to add value to the property. So what's the value proposition or the value added that you can bring to the industry and bring to the clients and bring to their customers or family when working with you? So just planning all those questions out ahead of time before you even meet with them is key, because you don't want to stutter. You don't want to go in and then not know what to say. So going through, okay, what are our current customers? Why did they choose to work with us? This, right? This is probably what somebody's going to ask me. So how can we bridge that gap and know exactly what to say when we're meeting with those people? I know when meeting with landscapes, and some of you guys are doing hardscapes and new landscapes, we used to have a questionnaire that we would go through and memorize before we even met with the customer, right? So what's your time frame looking like? Does this have to be done in the next week? Because I'm probably not going to be able to even give you an estimate in that time frame. Are you trying to stay under a certain budget? This is something that's huge. You don't want to go through and put together a $50,000 landscape renovation or hardscapes if their budget's $5,000. So those are just main things to ask before you even go any further. Because if you can't even get those two things agreed upon, then it's a waste of time for both. And if you know that it's 5,000 instead of 50, okay, how can we meet your budget and just enhance what you want to have enhanced without putting in a waterfall, a fire pit, a pool, and all that stuff? Another key point is if they're doing hardscapes, right? So Do they prefer curved, straight lines? Do they want fire, water, all this stuff? Is it something that it's just a family of four is going to enjoy, or is it a family? Do they entertain with 20 plus people? So all those small questions help you do in the design, the estimating process, where you can actually find out exactly what they need. Is it just for looks? If it's just for looks, like a retaining wall, they might not care if it's the nicest block, right? So you can kind of work through all of those questions to create the estimates for them whenever you guys agree on one common path. With landscapes, kind of the same thing. Do you have small children, right? If so, maybe we stay away from pokey plants, no rose bushes. Maybe we don't put rocks if you have a lot of windows, because they're probably going to pick them up and throw them at the window. I've gone through all of that, and then I fixed all that stuff. So we know that how to make the customer's life easier if we avoid certain things or guide them down a certain path. So those are just some of the basic things we want to talk about if it's a new person, okay? When you're also meeting with a new person and with existing customers, you have to always look at cross-selling and upselling. So cross-selling and upselling are both probably the easiest second money that you can get. It's a lot easier to cross-sell, upsell than it is to go even talk to a new customer or potential customer. Look at it as in you're going to a store or you get a car, right? It's easy to get a shirt with a pair of pants than it was just to walk out with a pair of pants. You're going to buy something else, you're already there. So always looking at it in the eyes of the customer of, okay, what else could they potentially be seeking? What other services are they paying somebody else to do that I could bring in-house? Because if they just want you to estimate mowing, but then you notice that there's weeds all over the yard, right? You can cross-sell to fertilizing. If you put in a landscape job, but you know that they're not very hands-on or handy, well, here's a proposal for landscape maintenance ongoing. So there's a lot of stuff that crosses over that you can still offer to people when they already do work with you. So every year, this is something we would do as well. We list out everybody's services, what they have, why don't they do this other service with us? So that way we have customers that are utilizing all of our services. So if they're mowing and doing fertilizing, why aren't they doing irrigation work? Because irrigation, we can check, we can monitor, we can make sure everything's working properly to optimize the growth of their lawn. So those are all key points. Instead of trying to find a brand new person or a new client, focus on who you have, what other services can you tie in to what you're already providing for them. So those are probably the best selling opportunities, is cross-selling, upselling. And this is something that we've been working on as well, but being able to offer multiple levels of services and products to your customer, right? So you can have a basic model, which might just be mowing, but if you want to add another level on top of it, let us weed your landscape beds while we're already there, or we can bag every time. It's going to be an additional charge, but some people might want that. With the landscaping side of stuff, if you're doing, black edging, okay, here's the estimate with black edging in it, but do you know there's stone edging or concrete edging or aluminum edging? You can upsell them on that stuff very easily. If you're doing a hardscape project or a new landscape project, how about we add in some landscape lighting, right? It's easier to do it the first time than come back a year later and add in lights to everything. And you're going to enhance it at night. It's going to be an outside section of your home. So you're going to be using that most of the time outside. Why don't we add some lighting in that estimate as well? Even with aeration, you can upsell to overseeding. I mean, these are all things that tie into each other that still will benefit the customer. And it's better that you offer that to them beforehand than wishing they would have did it with you in the beginning, if that makes sense. I've had a lot of people come back and say, I wish I would have just known about this because I didn't like it. I didn't know there was another option. And then you feel bad because you didn't even share your knowledge of the product or service that you could have offered them what they really wanted. So with the upselling, cross-selling, like I said, those are key. If it's even a new person, you can still walk around that house with them if they're looking at landscape maintenance, but point out some tree damage, right? Hey, did you know that this should be trimmed back? I see you've got weeds all over the yard, and is anybody taking care of that for you? So just constantly asking questions and look at everything around their property of how you can better enhance their curb appeal, give them more time to spend with their family, doing the hobbies they love, And that is what people truly want. They want our knowledge on how we can better service them or how we can better their properties. People want to be told what they need on their properties. A lot of people don't even walk around their house. They don't know they have a fungus. So you should offer that to them. Hey, this is what you have. I know we're only mowing, but we could treat this. Right. So to increase all the sales, no matter what, you can't forget the number one rule, which is always, always, always take care of what your clients truly need. And focusing on your main clients first, you can offer more of those corollary products and services to those businesses, to those clientele, to those potential new customers. And then just finding out what they truly care about. So don't take that for granted. Create the bond with each and every client to show them how much you appreciate them, how much that you make them or they make you feel important, right? So you want them to feel important when you talk to them at all times. But that's the biggest asset of your company. So treat each and every one of them as they are your most important client of your company, even if they're not. I know it's difficult for a lot of people because we all have those very, very picky customers. And I've got them too. They call me at 5 a.m. They call me at 11 at night, but I still treat them with respect because every year they constantly renew. They don't even care about prices. So sometimes those pickiest customers are the best customers because nobody else will take care of them to the level that they want to be taken care of. So if you have the willingness to provide the best service and attention, there's nothing stopping you. You can easily grow and scale the company no matter what by focusing on the main customers and fact finding, cross-selling, and upselling. So that is what we have utilized to go from 1 division to 7 divisions. And under each division, I mean, just our fertilizing division, we created probably 40 plus different services because of cross-selling, upselling. Without that thought process, we would have just had a 6-step program and that would have been it. But we kept asking questions. What are you looking for? How can we help better your lawn? How can we tell what's going on? Let's do a soil sample, which leads to humic acid, biosolid, sulfur, gypsum, all that stuff. So keeping that in mind, that it's not just one service you're providing, but it can open the door to numerous services. Make sense? It's kind of a lot of info. That's why I didn't want to go into the estimating today, because that's a whole different process, but just knowing that getting those documents, those facts first, allows you to present it in a proposal when you finally send it over.